Out front now, top real estate attorney Adam Lightman-Bailey. He successfully sued Donald Trump for fraud over Trump's Soho hotel. Adam, you and I have talked many times about that over the years. And here we are tonight. The Attorney General, Letitia James, obviously won the case in New York, so she could go ahead with property seizures there on Monday if she wanted to. She's got a judgment in Westchester County, home to both Trump's Seven Springs estate and one of his golf courses, as I was showing everyone pictures of. What does this tell you about how quickly she is ready to seize Trump's properties?
Oh, the Attorney General is ready to go. They're ready to go after his money to try to fulfill the judgment. The question is, how hard is it going to be to collect? And I will tell you straight up, it's going to be a very difficult collection process if they can't seize his liquid assets, which are the first thing I would do if I was the attorney and the litigator collecting assets is send the proper documents out to seize the bank accounts. I would send a notice to every bank account in the United States of America, every bank in the United States of America, letting them know that we have this judgment and we want to collect and see how much money you get. We know from the Trump 2021 tax return that he has at least $300 million in liquid assets, and we know that he has more than that today. That's the first thing I would go after.
All right, so let me ask you, and you said in that filing more than $300 million and more than that today in liquid assets. And he's testified, of course, he has $400 million in cash. Do you think James actually knows where he's keeping all that money? Or, I mean, what you're describing is sort of send it to every bank because it's a needle in a haystack. Is that really the way this is? Or do you think that she does know where those liquid assets are?
We know that she knows a lot because she's deposed him. She's deposed him and everyone in the family so many times. So we know that she knows a lot. But that's not enough. And there's not that many banks left in the United States of America. And we know most likely they're planted in New York and Florida. Now, if they're in his name, they're very easy to get to. However, if they're in LLCs, or in trusts, much harder. There'll be court battles over breaking up the LLCs, seeing who's in them. If the LLCs are not named in the judgment, you're going to have battles in court over who has rights to them, who's a member of them, who has a right to get to them. And what is Donald Trump trying to do? Two things. He's trying to keep his money, number one, and number two, if he doesn't post a bond by Monday, but number two, he's trying to get to November. If he wins the presidency, everything's on hold for 4 years.
So what do you think James should do first on Monday if Trump fails to meet the deadline? I mean, obviously outside the liquid asset point, which you've made, but what does she do first in terms of property seizures? Right.
So she has a list of all his properties. She knows every property in the United States of America that he has. Unfortunately, most of those properties have mortgages on them. The banks, the lenders get paid first when she forecloses on them and she takes those assets. The lenders get paid first. Therefore, we don't know how much money is left on those assets after she forecloses on them. We know that a lot of those assets are overly inflated. That's something that Trump is he's very good at, as you and I have discussed in the past, and he's the king of. But what are they really worth, and how much? And remember what's going on in New York City today. We're in a real estate crisis and chaos. We've never had a commercial real estate market like this in the history of real estate. So it's the worst time to sell. So you know Trump well because you have faced him in court a number of times, right? And you and I've talked about the Soho property where you were victorious about how much, they said they'd sold more apartments than they had. You think that he could be getting desperate to come up with the money, I know, at this point. So who do you think he might be turning to get it? Remember, there's campaign finance laws. So he should be turning to friends of his. He probably wants to stay away from Saudi Arabia and Egypt, where that's probably the easiest money to obtain. But he probably wants to find people he knows already, like an Elon Musk type, who we could do really great favors for, like banning imports of cars. In exchange, he takes a loan of that much money. I'm sure he's on the phone right now trying to get someone to loan him that much money or a portion of that money in order to avoid this whole fiasco.
Wow, it should be incredible to see a whole nother layer to this. Adam, thank you very much. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and I want